Welcome to the Moon Mood. My name is Lola B, and you're tuned in to 30 Days of Glamour Magic. I am here to share some tips and techniques for you to add to your grimoire or current spell work. This is a teaching platform, so I encourage you to have something that you're comfortable taking notes with, a reflective surface for the mirror work practice, any supplies if you would like to follow along with any of the glamour application. Most importantly, questions and your insight, as I would love to hear any knowledge or information that you have on the chosen theme and topic. Tonight we are beginning with Friday. Friday represents beauty, romance, love, connection, magnetism, harmony, pleasure, of many other things. Color association is pink, teal, green, turquoise. Energy center is the throat chakra, ruled by the planet Venus, associated with zodiac Libra and Taurus, which is the earth and air elements. 384 hertz frequency, which is playing and will play throughout the duration of the stream to aid in alignment with the throat chakra for expression and free flowing of energy as we tap into glamour for attraction this evening. Here at the Moon, this work is for self-embodiment, confidence, and personal alignment. We work with consent, clarity, and care. We do not influence, manipulate, or override free will or cause intentional harm. And all energy is grounded, protected, and returned to balance. Our code of ethics then leads us into the rule of 3 before we participate in any spell work collectively together. Am I being specific? Will it cause harm to me or anyone else? And am I willing to take responsibility? All important to understand. Intentionality in spell work, the risk associated with any spell work that you initiate or participate in, as well as being willing to take responsibility, as we do live in duality. Cause and effect is at play. For every action, there is a reaction. And with our code of ethics and rule of 3, if you then agree, then you're free to participate at any point in time, any of the spell work that we do participate in throughout the stream. All right, so jumping right on in. Our theme is about resonance and not pursuit. I know we've all heard several times, attracting and not chasing. And that's exactly, hold on. And that's exactly, let me fix what we got going on here. So I attract what honors me. We're talking about attraction. That is why that is, or we can either frame it as I am receptive to what feels mutual and what feels kind. When we're talking about resonance, we're talking about vibrational frequency. We're talking about energy and how energy moves. So I channeled a lot with this one. So the first to kind of go with our guide, talking about our energy is Venus, and Venus is about magnetism and about harmony. Just thinking about, a lot of times it's a lot easier to digest magnetism and attraction as something like being attracted to, there's something in you that's similar to something in me, and that's why we're attracted to each other. Or, like I said, just easier to digest when the notion is, when it comes to polarity, or when it comes to more of the scientific definitions, when we're looking at different types of energy and how magnetism works. And we have to understand it within duality that if attracts, that means opposites as well will attract. But focus for, as it ties into glamour, is allowing what aligns to come closer. Either you are getting yourself into a state of aligning yourself with what's already there, what's already yours, so that you can get on the right vibrational frequency, or you're pulling something into your frequency. That is literally what manifestation is. So attraction is a state and not a strategy. So it's not like some type of plan. It's not some type of specific roadmap. It's more so a state of mind, a state of being. When they say you are what you eat, or you attract, you're saying for whatever vibrational frequency that you are oscillating within, that is what you'll attract. Now, the one interesting thing, because as I was thinking about it, that made a lot of sense to me, because I know I've been in situations, I don't know if you've ever been in situations where you figure there's no way that this is the frequency that I was vibrating at. I mean, there are plenty of times when I'm vibrating low, and low is not negative, high is not solely positive. We're just talking about the speed. Higher vibrations do travel faster, lower vibrations travel slower, the energy. So there's sometimes I am vibrating low. But when I'm talking about something that's negative, there's sometimes when I have asked questions to ask myself, like, there's no way that this person or this thing or this atmosphere was on my vibrational frequency. So what I did channel when it came to that is it is possible that because the way that energy flows within the chakras, within the energy centers in the human body, we know that there are 7, right? So we start at the root chakra, then we go up to sacral, then solar plexus, then heart, then throat, then third eye, then crown. There are more inside of the auric field when we start talking about the etherical body, but in the human part of the body, the natural part of the body, there are at least 7 known, studied, passed down from ancient knowledge chakras within that part of the body. And it's possible to attract something from the lower chakras, the root or the sacral chakra, that might not be aligned with your throat, that might not be aligned with the crown. So there are some times when, because that's why within religious beliefs, they talk about carnal or earthly, because we're talking about the lower chakras, where a lot of those things reside that actually make us, that contribute to our tethering to earth, that actually correspond with our connection to the earth. And so there are some times when it comes to certain things, sacred energy exchanges and things like that, they do reside and live down here, especially because that's where we are feeling it in the physical body, in those areas of where the lower chakras are located. That's where that association is going to come from. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. However, lust, you know what I'm saying? Those type of things will come rooted within the same areas. So therefore, it should be a little bit easier to identify when you understand that all that is attracted to light doesn't benefit the light, but it can benefit from the light. I use that example a lot in nature. How moths are nocturnal, and anything nocturnal is really tuned to the moonlight. However, artificial light does exist. So then that's why you will see them buzzing around artificial light. So everything that's attracted to you is not 100% your projection or reflection. Although it could be a lower chakra or a state of mind and being that you're not 100% aware of. Because if you're seeing it as something that's not desirable, something that you feel like it's not parallel, something that you don't want to align yourself with, then that's the area, then that becomes a signal for you to do something about that. This person is attracted to me, but then this is not a good person. Let's just sum it up for like real quick, easy example. Well, what about that don't you like? It's supposed to be a signal and an indicator within you of what some shadow work that you may need to participate in. But just understand that all that is attracted to light doesn't benefit the light, but it can benefit from the light. So it may be a different purpose there. But either way that the energy flows, it's possible to attract from the lower chakras. But attracting is about being on the same vibrational frequency somehow, even if things are opposite, because within duality, if light can attract, then opposite can as well. If light can repel, then opposite can repel as well. That's all what being in alignment is being at the same frequency. If I'm here and somebody's here and we're oscillating back and forth, we don't never cross paths. We're not on the same frequency. There's no way. We have to be on the same frequency somehow. So everything attracted won't be completely opposite. Everything attracted won't be completely alike. But metaphorically attraction, when we're talking about like love or just like person to person and just magnetism in that type of way when it comes to relationships or connection, it's applied to more complex psychological factors. But it doesn't mean that the laws, let's say the different types of energy, let's pull that up. So just talking about the difference between stored energy, which is considered potential, or kinetic energy, which is energy that's supposed to be in motion. Now, all energy is actually in motion. All energy flows, basically, right? But it's all about what spirit, as I was doing my research, all energy is in motion, constantly flowing. However, energy doesn't all move at the same speed. And during energy's route or path, it could be transformed from type to type, and it can move from one thing, object, place to another. So you have stored energy, you have kinetic energy, and then you have, under those two categories, there's different types as well. So when we're talking about attraction being a state, we do our mirror work here. And one of the biggest things that we focus on is being present, doing the breath work, and then being able to make the eye contact, be content with what you see, not correcting, not criticizing. All of that and all of those steps those visualizations and the incantation and the encouraging to embody the embodiment of the glamour is helping you to be in the right mental state. And it's helping you to recognize what energy you're currently in case you don't already know. Or in case you just need to stop at any point in time in the day and just do some breathing exercises. Look in a reflective surface to reground yourself. Because attraction happens when we're settled in ourselves, when we are secure, when we're safe, when we're grounded. Once you realize where your base energy is, you know how to return back to that. And then pushing past that will let you know. If you really want to identify what you're attracting, especially if it's something that's not desirable, then that is the way to do it, is to figure out where the energy lies. And it's not about convincing. Remember, we're not faking till we make it. We're not forcing. We are resonating. We are acknowledging. Remember, your power, again, is not in your feelings, but in your innate ability to manipulate energy. But in science, it's considered kinetic when it's in movement, and it has an effect on other energy because all energy is flowing. But when you have something that's just not in motion and it's sitting here and it's not doing anything, the moment I interact with it and the moment that it interacts with something, that is when it's considered kinetic energy. So when there are two, if you look at magnetic fields, if you look at energy chakra centers, the diagrams where it shows the body, and then it has the path in which the energy is moving through the auric field, it looks exactly the same as when they show the diagram of a magnet, the energy and how it goes from the energy source outward back into the oscillation. It looks exactly the same. So when energy fields collide, it's going to be considered kinetic energy. And as we talk about, for every action, there's a reaction. That's when something happens. A chemical exchange actually happens when energy collides in the auric field. It could be as simple as walking past somebody, but then more intentionally, it could be your energy can be sent out. That's what the magnetism is about. When you are working on manifestation, you're sending energy out that you want to come back to you. And so now we're trying to go into compatibility because the body signals that we talk about with confidence, that we talked about with communication are the same. Just being relaxed, just having soft eyes, having that ease and expression, all of that is what builds upon for you to understand when it comes to attraction. Being confident, being secure, knowing that you're safe, being very intentional, being very specific, not having rushed. Because see, the whole chase, the chasing the bag, the chasing the money. I even have my LED, one of my favorite LEDs behind me, says hustle. However, I've come to want to more so embrace no hustle culture, not this chasing money, not allowing rest, just constantly on the go. I really want to cancel that. So even though it's there and I had it in my office, I brought it home, I started using it in my backgrounds. It's definitely, excuse me, I need my water, excuse me. I definitely have been denouncing hustle culture. Definitely have been trying to stay away from the whole idea of chasing anything. It's all about just attracting. Now, it doesn't mean that attracting is I'm just sitting still. If we understand how magnetism works within attraction, if we understand how manifestation works, all of this all requires to do something. It's just that chase is like a heightened state. Attraction is more so about being calm, about being present, about being still, about being sure, about being confident. And I'm not trying to be all worked up, blood pressure high, running and just all out of sorts to get what I want. I'm trying to be in harmony with what I want. And so the body does communicate availability way before words do, because again, all those signs and signals come through the body way before the mind. And there's so many times within this being the gut being the real first brain, how this helps to communicate through the nervous system and tells this what to do. So today when we do get to talking about the glamour of it all, the magic of it all, the intentional part, it isn't about armor. It's once again about continuing to be open, because in order to receive what it is that you are attracting, you have to be open. More of what my notes were is understanding that you hold the power, that everything that's attracted to you doesn't deserve close proximity, which is the reason why simultaneously, it's like there's no techniques that are taught that should not be practiced simultaneously. If we're telling you and showing you how to open up a portal, that's why we're going to show you how to close and seal one. If we're showing you how to remain open and be vulnerable so that you can obtain what you're trying to obtain, but we're also showing you how to shield and block energy so that you can be in control of what does pass through and what you do absorb. All energy does not have to be transmuted, even though you have the power to do so. So that's pretty much like, what it is. Bringing the awareness that you hold the power, that not everything that's attracted to you deserves the close proximity. And that if you are attracting something or someone on a level that you're not satisfied with, you can then utilize the concept of the law of attraction to actually embody and change that. Because the law of attraction goes into basically being what you're trying to attract. And that's when we talk about energetic compatibility and being at the same vibrational frequency of it. So it's no different than being encouraged and we've been talking about having routines, rituals that support the energetic flow in your current season or cycle of this particular timeline. We've been talking about it, and attraction, it just adds on top of that. True attraction includes choice on both sides. That's where the consent comes in. That's why sometimes you hear people say, like, I want what wants me. I'm not trying to bring anything into my life that doesn't also want me or honor me or respect me. I mean, you can plug in a lot of different things when it pertains to that, but it's about consent, choice, mutual. And so for the mirror practice, we always like to go ahead and get into some breath work. Before we get into that, I do want to remind that we do have a code of ethics. This work here at the Moon Mood is for self-embodiment, confidence, and personal alignment. We work with clarity, consent, and care, and we do not influence, manipulate, or override anyone's free will or cause intentional harm. All the energy is grounded, protected, and returned to balance. Just as you found me, I'm confident that you'll be able to find somebody that participates in the dark arts or black magic. If that is your thing, that is not our focus here. We do operate off of a rule of 3. Am I being specific? Will it cause any harm to me or anyone else? And am I willing to take responsibility? All having to do with intentionality in your spell work, understanding the risk in any spell work that you initiate or participate in, as well as being willing to take responsibility for the cause and effect. We live in duality. For every action, there's a reaction. And if you agree with the code of ethics and the rule of 3, then you can continue to participate in any spell work or rituals we do here together. So to get into the right frame and state of mind before we actually open our portal, I do like to do some breathing techniques. Square breathing is my favorite. Sitting upright, I like to sit in this chair with my feet firmly planted on the ground and shoulders nice and relaxed. I don't have to sit. I just a very relaxed posture. Go ahead and bring it over this way. Just a relaxed posture. And the idea of square breathing is to inhale, to hold the breath, and to exhale on the same count of seconds. We've been practicing it in the way that I was introduced as well, to hold to exhale a couple extra seconds to allow for more space to release. And so we'll go through that a couple times, and there's always at least 2 affirmations in addition to what we have on our board in the back for today. I attract what honors me. There's 2 additional affirmations that we can say to get us aligned. I'm going to go ahead and take my glasses off now. So I have my cloth, and before we start our breathing, we can go ahead and open the portal, passing in circles with the cloth as we unveiled it. And then asking Archangel Michael and the other archangels of the highest white benevolence and of good character that are here to guide me, protect me, but most importantly, to love me, to help to protect this energy session and this mirror work. Binding, blocking any trickster or any confusion energy that might want to come in to taint this glamour magic. We honor and respect this. Its energy is grounded, protected, and returned to balance. With gratitude, we proceed. All right. So I want to go ahead and breathe in on the count of 4 seconds. Hold for the count of 4 seconds. Exhale for the count of 6 seconds. Do that a couple times. And the next step usually after that is to just identify any tension, any pain areas. Just bring your attention to any part of your body as well as your thoughts. You can start emptying out one at a time. Just acknowledge, same as when we are actually looking in the mirror. We're not trying to fix. We're not correct. We're just acknowledging. We're just being present. And we can start our breathing. So it's in for 4. Hold for 4. Out for 6. In for 4. Hold for 4, out for 6. I'm starting to feel where my tension is down in my knees as well as in my calf. And this is where I always encourage that if you have not tried this before, you can start to perform Reiki on yourself by when you identify where the energy is, where the tension or where the pain indicator is, then you can, when you inhale, focus on that area, and when you exhale, you can extract that energy, get it moving around. Reiki is normally performed when the body is completely relaxed. You're moving the energy around through intention. And again, like we talked about with a kinetic interference, and not with actually moving the body. Keep the body still. So that's what I'm going to do to try to take this tension out of my knees right now so that I can finish on with this live. Usually after doing so many repetitions, especially of the deep breathing before you return back to your natural breath, you should start to feel very light, maybe even a tad bit numb. And this is in that space where it's like nothing in front of you, nothing behind you, nothing on top, behind, just the void, where you can actually tap into that part of your spirit, because your spirit does fragment. So it's just only a portion of your spirit that's actually inside of your body at any given time. But you can connect to that and feel a lot more light when you actually get connected to your breath. Because it's a whole nother level, which I think I heard Bashir talk about, as it pertains to understanding that the body itself also is just a reflection or a projection of the soul. So it's material because we're in a material realm, but that's a whole nother conversation. But once we feel like we have got grounded, we have centered our breath, we've turned to natural breathing, and we feel like we are ready, then we can step to the portion where we're still breathing, we're still focusing on being present, but now we're going to actually meet our gaze and look into our reflective surface and make eye contact with ourselves. The emphasis here is to find the edge. A lot of people find it uncomfortable to actually make eye contact and not break the gaze. And this is the point where we'll try to do that. Not fixing, not correcting, not criticizing, just being okay with exactly what it is that you see and making eye contact with yourself confidently. The moment you feel like you want to look away, that is the edge, and that's where you want to push. Not violently, not forcefully, naturally. And let's go ahead and breathe just a few more times as we're looking at ourselves before we say our 2 affirmations for this evening. Again, it's okay to acknowledge. Part of being in a meditative state is to acknowledge your thoughts. So if you find yourself start to have racing thought, it doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. You're actually navigating within the thought space. You've actually quieted everything else around you. And now you just need to be here and just to go ahead and sit there. Acknowledge each thought. You don't have to do anything with it. Just acknowledge it and push it out till you get to a point where the thoughts are moving a lot slower, so where then you can start to command back control of the thought space and don't think anything that you don't want to think, where you can separate your original thoughts from something external. So that's the time where you just sit within that thought space for a minute. And so the first thing which I would like you to say when we are in this mirror practice this evening is, I allow myself to be received. Because remember, we're talking about consent. We're talking about mutual. So when we say things like, I only want what wants me, that's where that fits in. I allow myself to be received. I hear right place, right time. And the second one is I welcome what meets me with respect. I allow myself to be received, and I welcome what meets me with respect. Friday is governed and ruled by the planet Venus, associated with Libra and Taurus zodiac sign, elements of earth and air, and with throat chakra, which is the reason why we are listening to 384 hertz frequency. We have been talking about attraction, and hydration is important today. The moon is in Libra, so right on track. Get that water in. We have been talking about attraction. We can emphasize the awareness that you hold the power to align yourself and realign yourself if there's misalignment. And we talked about energy, different types of energy, kinetic, potential energy, understanding that even though all energy is flowing, that it moves at different paces and oscillations. Whatever frequency is what's going to attract, but being in duality, that if it can attract, then opposites can also attract and then repel, vice versa. There's a scientific element of it, there's a metaphysical element of it, and then applying it to metaphorically to attraction when it comes to connection, romance, person to person or interpersonal relationships. That's when we're talking about more complex psychological factors in attraction. Also, it was a reminder that attraction to light doesn't always benefit the light, but whatever's attracted to the light can benefit from it. So if you're ever questioning, like I have been plenty of times, like, what is it about me that's attracting this? There are some circumstances where you can be attracting from a lower energy flow and cycle, like the root or sacral chakra, where it may not be aligned with the higher chakras. It may be misaligned with what it is that you put out there, but it always will be a sign and indicator for any energy work if that's what needs to be done, because the energy inside of the auric field, while it is invisible, it can be felt, and it is considered stored up or potential until it actually collides with another energy field, and then it becomes kinetic. So attracting is just understanding vibrational frequencies, and alignment is understanding the flow of energy and how to alter your vibrational state. Because there's so many ways that we can do that. One of the ways that I like to do that as it pertains to glamour is by using makeup. So we're going to just smoothly transition into the second portion where we talked about the colors of pink, teal, green, turquoise, and the suggested colors, again, for the energy of attraction and harmony, pleasure, was rose, blush, mauve, maybe like a soft berry. So maybe adding in like pinks and purples. Valentine's is coming up, so I don't know. Let's do something. Yesterday was so crazy because yesterday I did evil eye look, and it wasn't a coincidence that I picked up on the evil eye energy that has been thrown my way. I decided to throw myself into doing 30 days of makeup, making myself more visible, stop hiding behind recorded content. I just went through some crazy things in my personal life where I had to block a bunch of people. And it's always crazy how I'm always led to be more visible after having to be told to be careful who I let privy to my energy. So it's just like weird how that happens sometimes. Weird not in a bad way, but just weird, like ironic, because it's like, oh, spirit, I see what you're saying. So let's get into it. I don't believe in coincidence so much so I believe that anybody that comes across me is supposed to. It's up to us to utilize each other in the right way. So we don't have to have no regrets. We don't have to have, what I posted on my threads today, just closing cycles with clarity in my conscience so that it's nothing to heal from. So I know that there would be spiritual attacks. I know that there will be people that would not like to see something like this to thrive. But when it's not up to them what my success looks like, then it's not anything for me to worry about. So, but that was a lesson yesterday. That was definitely a lesson yesterday as it pertained to knowledge and energy that I shouldn't have, and it kind of threw me off. But we kept going. I still got a look out of it, but it was a lesson, and it was definitely a lesson. Normally, makeup portion is when I just free talk because then I'm not really looking at any of my notes. But yes. Also did not have an inspiration look for today, but I had something in mind. So we're just gonna see what we come up with these pinks and purpley, mauvey type of look. Definitely. It's been good. I did for this attraction, I had a message. I had actually channeled a lot of the talking points today, which I can always go back to some of my notes for those that missed it. But I know one of the things that I had asked Spirit a lot when it came to attraction, because I had not been attracting the right energy lately or ever. I'm gonna say ever, but a lot of times in certain sense. So let's say in a romantic sense. So I had definitely asked questions about, and so I'd already been receiving stuff since early summer regarding all that is attracted to light doesn't benefit the light, but can benefit from the light, and that everything attracted won't be completely opposite or won't be completely alike, and that you have the capacity of attracting from your lower chakras. So when you find stuff that's misaligned, you say it could be for various reasons, but it's very possible everything attracted to you is not always an indicator of what you are projecting. And that's been one of the most beautiful lessons for me, because when you go through a lot of struggle in interpersonal relationships, you do start to ask yourself, what the heck is wrong with me? Why is this being attracted to me? So Spirit answered a lot of that, and it just was very comforting, and I was very eager to share that. And then I had a whole science lesson on different types of energy, stored energy versus kinetic energy, and understanding that energy is always flowing, but it's really, hey, you said what? Girl, you're gonna have to elaborate on that comment, because I don't even know. So I'm excited because it's such organic. Never know how it's gonna turn out, but just being open for different outcomes. Nothing expected at all. A few goals on here every once in a while. First hour does go by pretty fast. I jump right in at 11 and I get the talking points out the way. We get the lesson part out the way. Then hopefully that can help you better decide what you want to participate in, or what will most benefit you right now on your journey. But today was a great day. A lot of rest, a lot of reflection. And then I had a great channeling when I was just thinking about attraction and wanting to just talk about it, and just being able to, again, ritualize everything, trying to add more attraction into my life in areas where I think I need to be more specific in what it is I'm calling in. And remembering that just because something, how does Spirit put it? That everything that's attracted to you does not deserve close proximity. So just because somebody or whatever is attracted to you does not mean you have to allow it into your space. And believe it or not, I was somebody who had a hard time with that. I had a very hard time with that. I was letting things in. It came from desperation. It came from fear of rejection. It was easier to go ahead and go with what was attracted to me. Oh, and we're talking about interpersonal relationships here, romantic connections, crushes, you saying, being at that state of not being confident, and I would just take whatever. And so if you think about it, if you think about cravings, and once I've let a certain energy in me, and I didn't really understand and know what the danger of all that was. And I have a video where I talked about that, about energetic cords and leaving breadcrumbs. So if you imagine, just whenever that first relationship that allowed that energy in, then that energy knew how to come back to me every single time. So it took intention to really get back to a place of breaking that. So yes, oh Lord, I tell you, it's been a lot, but it's been a lot of learning by doing. And then even more revelations come in when you share. I think that's the reason why we're always encouraged just not to be afraid to share parts of our journey, even when we haven't even gotten out of it yet. Emphasis is not always on waiting until you made it out, or you're healed, you're delivered, you're on the other side. Sometimes speaking up about it right then and there is a part of the process, helps other people to connect to you, and it helps you to further draw some connections to puzzle pieces, connecting some dots, certain things like that that you might not have if you weren't being as vocal. That's why we talk about bravery and courage and things like that, because it takes that to speak up and speak out. I just made a very brave post recently, things that I was holding in some of which for 6 years where I had talked about it a little bit, but I didn't fully allow myself to name names. And then when I finally did, man, it's a certain freedom that came from that. Sorry, something smelled like it was burning. I forgot that I was burning incense behind me. So I think that if people can just understand how freeing and liberating a lot of this is for me, that it's not about me having answers. It's not about me trying to make it seem like I know it all, because I don't. Even when it comes to the makeup, this is all learned. And this is over years. And yes, I'm more confident the more I do it. But I even came on here yesterday when that look was just not going as planned. Just acknowledging that, dang, I really got to learn some different techniques. I may need to pick up some different tools. It was a very good transparent moment though, to show how I had to just push through, still complete the look, finish the live. Transparently, I forgot to close the portal in the session. I ended up having to close the mirror after I stopped the live, because it started to get a little bit frustrating that the look that I was working on and what I was trying to do wasn't coming together. And then after 2 attempts, I still felt like a little defeated a little bit. So it was interesting to see, but it was real-time acknowledgement of like taking in energy that was not my own and having to figure out what I wanted to do with it. So even though I may not understand why people like the whole hater thing and really taking all that energy that they could be using for, shoot, God knows, any and everything else, why they spend so much time focusing on wishing ill on somebody else, I'll never understand it. But certain prayers that I prayed, because when you were asking for certain things to be revealed, especially within the space of lies, I don't think spirit leaves any stone unturned. I really think that all lies are exposed. So even the part of you that is lying to yourself that makes you comfortable or made you comfortable with accepting the circumstance, even that gets exposed. So it's not even just about expose the liars, expose those hating on me. I asked for a certain level of exposing where all lies are exposed. Everything. So even me lying to my doggone self gets exposed. Which is just important, because I really don't have time to stay in a delusional state that's not beneficial to me. So it's like at that point I was already ready. I wasn't surprised at what the energy, I wasn't surprised at what it was revealing, because I was already ready. But it was just like, goodness gracious. Nothing, no lies, nothing is going to stand at that point. So you can't pick and choose when you want true revelations and things to be revealed and asking for divine intervention. You got to go with what it is that spirit is offering you in that moment, that help, and not ignore it. I ignored my intuition for so many years that I just put my nervous system in a flight or fight state that was very difficult for me to get out of. And I'm going through a detox right now. A lot of sleeping, a lot of regulation, just trying to get back to a place of calm and peace. Lord knows it has been a heck of a journey. So I find sometimes when I have an inspiration look, it works. Sometimes when I don't, it works. When I just go with it and don't be so, I don't know, particular, I guess you could say. So I don't know. Because this isn't bad for like purple, mauvey, a little shimmer situation going on. Rose, blush, mauvey type of, but I did have to do that pop of the pink though. Because the lighter pink that I have doesn't always seem to show up that well. So I don't know, the inner eye doesn't always come across the way I want it to. That's fine though. I have a very light shimmer to go in the inner corner too. I definitely was able to use the brush and blend it all the way down, or just moved it and had to start over. But you definitely have to go back and forth. Sometimes if for the intensity of colors, you have to go back and keep adding layers on top till you get to where you see like, this is where I want to be. So I normally want to go ahead and get this under eye started so we can figure out what this liner, the eyeliner, is gonna be. Then I'll be like, sometimes it'd be like, just when I be thinking I didn't do too much, it'd be like, nope, it's just enough. I don't know. I've gotten really comfortable with the amounts because it's levels to it. I forget what day I came on here and I was trying to show. I think that'll be the intention for next week. It's just to show that if you were going to add makeup, because I know it's a lot of lip gloss and mascara girlies. It's a lot of, I don't even use foundation. I use concealer usually on my whole entire face. And it is built upon, there's not a lot of products that I have that are full coverage. It gives me levels to the coverage. I can still have some of my skin show through, and sometimes I want every single part of it to be covered up. So I'm saying it really depends. All right, so let me see. This time I don't think I have any Valentine's Day plans, so I don't know what I'll be doing. I started off saying, oh, it could be like a Valentine's look, but 9 times out of 10 I won't even be doing nothing on Valentine's. No, I don't think so. I think I'll just be preparing for a show. If I'm not mistaken, I need to check back with the venue. My show should be February 22nd. I just think that this just has to be very mutual. Valentine's Day just has to be mutual. And so sometimes my lovers, they're just all over the world, really. It's like we celebrate each other's presents and stuff like that when we get around each other, but like it doesn't always align with the holiday. I hope, as I'm listening to myself say that, I'm hoping that makes sense. So therefore, this may not always. I may actually see somebody before Valentine's Day, not on Valentine's Day. I've been doing a lot of travel lately, and so I was thinking I needed to maybe take a break, which in a lot of sense for me is difficult to do that, but take a break because I've been doing a lot of traveling lately, and I needed to recenter and make sure that I'm not overextending myself. So we just don't need any of that. Unnecessary. We're just going to only put the energy where it needs to be at. All right, so we're going to attempt to use our paint to give us some liner that we can work with. I'm trying to create a little eye shape here. I've got glitter all on my thighs. I don't know what happened, but welcome in for anybody that just scrolling. This is 30 Days of Glamour Magick, and I'm doing the second portion, which is the chosen glamour application, which I do color and makeup. It is always the plight to try to do a dramatic wing liner. And I can't always say that it's even on both sides, but we do it with confidence every single time. Today we were talking about glamour for attraction, and we definitely got a mouthful of a lesson from Spirit as it pertains to energy, vibrational frequencies, energetic compatibility, attracting, not chasing, and just embodying what true alignment actually is, and knowing that we have the power to choose in every sense of the way. See how that's already going higher? How are we doing that? Instead of it just being straight. How are we doing that? How? I don't know. We're gonna fix it. Should have been more like that. Just longer. So I know they always usually talk about like, I can't never get them the same. One will be so perfect and sharp, and then the other, it won't be. So I literally just have to keep playing with it and fixing it until I get it right. Or until I just say, oh, that's enough. No obsessing, just gotta just accept what it is at this point. And it seems like I made it thicker right there, right here. But I get sick of messing with it after a certain point because I always do this one first and I always do it better than I do the other side. So that's okay. I definitely use my paint for a reason because the liquid eyeliner, it has a different way that it dries down. I don't even know how to describe it. I really don't know how to describe it. If that makes sense though. So using the paint actually helped me to be more precise because of the brush I'm using. And then it's oil, so it's not liquid. I actually do put a little bit of water on it to help it to flow a little bit better when I'm applying it. But it's just something, it's different. It's different than the pencil. It's different than the liquid liner. I don't even know how to describe it because it's the oil-based paint. And it's the Athena. All right, that's not bad. So we're practicing, trying to get better. It's real good on this side. This side is not bad. Let's not to just for the throat chakra, add just a little bit of a shimmer of blue underneath. That wouldn't be bad to do. That would not be bad to do. About 20 more minutes and then it's done. Oh, I gotta put the lash glue on. We have still been pumping it out with the tiny bit that I have left in my favorite glue that I have yet to replace. we will soon, pretty soon. If I was going out for Valentine's, I probably would do something dramatic like that. Because usually restaurants sometimes have low light, clubs, night lounges and stuff like that have low light. So it'd be just a little pleasant surprise to see a little cute little made up face when you get a flash of light or you get a going to the bathroom or something like that. You stand close to the bar enough or whatever the case may be. It just be like, oh, a little pleasant surprise. Magnetism is about alignment. It's about calmness. It's about being still. Way more powerful in knowing the power that you hold to get anything out of your energy field that you don't want there than to beat yourself up about why it's there in the first place. There's plenty of things that's attracted to other things. Might not always have to do with what you think it has to do with. You'd be surprised what actually doing the work affords you. You would be surprised. Maybe you wouldn't because you're intentional. It's not actually a surprise. I think it's a pleasant surprise when it's coming with the extra layer of abundance. Exceedingly abundantly above all that you ask or think, when spirit actually exceeds expectation. And the universe is aligning with you with way more than you even expected because you just didn't even remember. That's always a nice notion. I will say that much. But it's not really a surprise when you're being intentional. You know what it is that you want. You're going after those things that you want. You're embodying the very things that you are bringing into this realm. You're the example of that thing, the personification of it in the universe. So you're able to tell it. You're able to command it by being it. Don't chase, just attract. Like I said, my little thing in back there says that, but I am canceling. This is my year of canceling the hustle culture, the mentality, the constant state of being rushed, not honoring rest. I'm not going for none of that. I'm not going for none of that. Everything that I want wants me, and I'm going after it in a state of calmness and peace, not in any heightened state of panic or rush. Because everything that belongs to me is already mine. Everything that I want already belongs to me. I don't have to chase it. I just have to go get it. I literally just have to go and get it. But I had somebody tell me that I look just like my Instagram. That is also the true flex as well, which is why it's so fun sitting here and doing this, because you clearly will see me go from blank face, all the imperfections, all the perfectly imperfect marks on my face, to in 1 hour being fully made up. Not necessarily creating that much of an illusion, but being very comfortable showing the beginning. And I don't do no extra prep. A lot of times I thought to speed it up, I would, but I just show the whole process. Show every part that I go through without shame. And we are about 10 minutes from closing out. So I did want to go ahead and do my lip. I do got to grab something from the bathroom because I remembered the gloss that I wanted to apply afterward. The gloss that I'm going to apply afterward to blend it all, to help to blend it all together, is in the bathroom. So I'm actually going to get the gloss, wash my hands, come back, and we're going to close the portal. And we're going to finish. And we're done for the night. And Friday attraction Glamour Magick with this pink, rose, mauve blush with a little bit of turquoise in there. Green for the throat chakra. The blue is complete. And it could be a little Valentine's look if you was going to be fancy. So I'll give me 1 second. It is nothing like having a nice little clear gloss to just finish everything out with at the very end. I think I liked it a little bit better in theory than I do once I put the gloss on, but it's still not bad. And I probably would still put a little bit of light pink right there in the middle, just for that part of my lip that doesn't take the color, just to show intentionality with right there as well. I think that's it. That is it. So now let's go ahead and with the last 5 minutes, let's close our portal, officially ending the glamour session and finalizing the spell work so that we can get on up out of here. So we take our black cloth and then we go ahead and now we're going to go counterclockwise, backwards in time to close. We go clockwise forward in time for the portal to open, clockwise to close. And we say, I am in full control of how I present myself with specific and precise intention. Every application amplifies my inner being. I attract only what I allow. I repel all that serves me none. And this glamour is sealed in clarity and care. So mote it be. And we cloak. Thank you for joining. Seemed like a very quiet night tonight, and I'm okay with that. It was a lot of weird energy thrown at me yesterday, and I learned a valuable lesson in what energy I invite in, even when I'm using certain symbolism. You will see when I post about it, I did an evil eye look, and it just was offsetting, and it was hard for me to recover after that. But it was a transparent moment that I like to share with you all, because it showed how sometimes when things don't go as planned, or just saying when it's an unexpected turn of experiencing the energy, how you might have to push through. It was a point in time where I took some of it off and started over. Just nothing to edit, to cut away, or to be ashamed of, but to share in the process of how it works. We get from a blank, dry, moisturized space to this, but it might be multiple steps that we go through. And the intentionality of using makeup as a glamour technique, being very careful in what you say, what energy you invite in as you're actually using the portal to apply products. So I talked about it throughout this live because it just goes back to being confident. It just goes back to being safe. It just goes back to understanding the risk, like I always say, when you are initiating or participating in any type of spell work. So for today, it was okay for it to be a little bit on the low ebb. However, when we're talking about attraction, I'm okay with repelling, as we say in our incantation, anything that serves me none. If you were supposed to be here, then you were here. If you were not, then maybe you'll catch the next one, or maybe we're not aligned or energetically compatible during this particular timeline in this time and space. And that's completely okay. I encourage everybody to bring their insight and knowledge, because I would love to learn from you, as I am also officiating us through these practices of self-perception through mirrors as portals, and being able to ultimately present ourselves confident, safe, secure, and raising the collective vibration. This is also helping you to manifest things into your life. This is helping you to prune and cut things off that are not beneficial to you. And this is also helping me to stay committed to something for a whole 30 days, just helping us to do like reset and a reprogramming, not only of just our brain, but parts of our ego and our character, because it is shaped by our habits. All the rituals with the consistency then starts to become a part of who we are and a part of our lifestyle, what we do. So I just always like to encourage everybody to be bold, be confident, be kind to yourself and to others, and intentionally come back and see me any particular night, and make sure that you follow and go ahead and see any of the saved posts that I have. So thanks again for joining. I do appreciate all of the energy that's constantly being received and the support for this 30-day reset. Hoping that you're learning something and being able to take something from it. And we'll be able to see you next time.